Here we have the rather intriguing looking Synthux Academy Spotykach. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a dual looper that's got more than a bit of Frippertronics about it. Imagine you've got two tape machines that can loop, overdub, cross-record from one to the other, or even both at the same time. You can slow them down, speed them up, change the loop range, change the start point, add effects, envelopes, LFOs, as well as having 3 modes, a tape-style mode, plus a time-based slice mode, and a granular mode. Plus you've got an onboard clock for quantizing your slices and start points, a metronome and a trigger sequencer for each channel. So given all that, there's a ton of things to experiment with, and that's always a double-edged sword when you're demoing and reviewing something so deep, in that it's an amazing sonic playground, but that does mean there's a lot to play with a lot to explain, and you end up spending an awful lot of time just disappearing into your own little explorations, and you realise you've been tweaking and playing all night without actually recording anything or taking any notes. Time becomes completely abstract in the best way possible. The only way I can describe it is as some form of meditation. I'll play this whole thing at the end of the video so you can hear it in action without me talking. But I'll quickly describe what's going on here. I'm clocking everything with the Symmontronic Gnome 2 to demonstrate it utilises clock for quantizing loop points. And that's how deck A is staying in time. It's the one playing the hi-hat style loop in slice mode. And I've adjusted the loop length to make sure it's playing exactly a 4/4 loop. Deck B on the right is overdubbing the ARP from the Synth Pro X, and you're listening to the live input as well as the overdub plus a delay. The overdub itself is playing backwards and out of time. It's in reel mode, so it's not quantized and it's acting more like an old reel-to-reel. And as I change the tape speed on the right, you can hear it spinning out of tune. But I'm able to put it back in tune as it's quantized, the notes. You can have it unquantized, but it's useful to have it quantized to semitones, fifths or octaves, so you can make sure it's always musical. Later on, I'm touching the top right pad and spinning the main knob, which changes the delay time for a more subtle pitch change effect, and you'll see the LEDs turn red to indicate that. At the moment, I'm changing the position and the size of the reverse loop, which gives some nicely glitchy effects. And all of this is synced to my DAW, where the 808s and a couple of other percussive loops are playing in time, because again, it's all clocked from the Gnome 2. So there's plenty going on here, and it makes for an interesting performance and something I just can't do on anything else. So it really does bring something unique to the table. And talking of its aesthetics, at first glance it does look a little mysterious and perhaps a little impenetrable with these cool looking weird hieroglyphs on the front panel, but luckily it comes with this very attractive and easy to follow printed guide designed by my new super booth buddy Tom Tebby, who introduced me to the folks at Synthux Academy while we were there. And I think something like this is essential on anything without a screen. It can be so annoying to have to go back and forth to a computer screen to figure stuff out. So I've decided I'm full on team printed manuals these days. Having said that, it's actually a pretty simple interface with loads of visual feedback, as you can see with all the different things happening on the center LEDs. Because they show you the current position of everything, they change color to show you what parameter you're actually manipulating. And it uses pickup mode, so there are no unpleasant surprises. And to dig into this visual feedback a little bit more, this is a tone that I've created by overdubbing a couple of sounds off the Synthux Pro. It's in real mode here, just listening to it back. We put it into drift mode, so into granular mode. So you can see it's in orange there. Granular mode, it's in purple. The length of that arc is the size of the granular cloud. So we can change the size of it, we can move the position. We can modulate that position, and you can see the position modulating. return it, we're actually getting, as you can hear, the quantized notes. We can also pitch it volt per octave. You can hear it drifting in and out there. That's the original sample. Let's make it a bit smaller. We've got different envelopes we can use, so you can just have it playing straight, the different envelope shapes, and you can see this catching up. So if I go Alt, an envelope shape, you can see where this knob is, but the actual envelope shape, or the length of the envelope, is all the way to the end. Now it's caught it. Let's put that on, sounds nice with a massive bit of reverb. Got delay on there. Let's take the delay off. Put the delay on. It lights up. So again, you can see where the knob position is, but where the actual delay, I think that's the delay time, doesn't change until you pick that up. Alt, and that will leave it on. It'll latch it. Then we've got the distortion effects. So again, you can see where the knob position is, but it's actually set around there, so we've got to get all the way around to there to pick it up, and now we're changing it. And I think it's that plus this is the amount of that effect. Again, had to pick it up. So this really is quite intuitive. Once you start using it, everything seems to fall into place. And most of the knob functions or the play functions are labeled on the panel itself. So we've got play, we've got alt, we've got reverse. And there are a lot of alternate functions for each knob, which is where this alt pad comes in. Alt plus play arms the record. It's already recording in this mode here. If you've got it in real mode, it will wait to record till it gets something over minus 40 dB. Alt and reverse initiates deck-to-deck recording, and you can record left to right or right to left, or both at the same time. Alt and pitch restrains it. It's different quantizers. So you can quantize the pitch bend on the wheel to 2 octaves, 1 octave, a fifth, or semitones. You can see there's different positions there. It's only got a few settings. Alt and cycle, so these are the LFOs, we'll sync these to the clock. And just cycle is unquantized. Alt and tap cycles between the clock modes, so internal, external, and MIDI. So I think green's internal, purple or pink is external, and blue is MIDI, something like that. And we do have an onboard clock, obviously, so let's put it back onto internal. We can change the rate of that with tap and cycle A. In fact, I can make that more obvious by turning up the metronome. It's 250 BPM, down to I think it's 30 or very little anyway. Turn that off. So you will have to learn a few of them or keep the manual handy. Which again is why for things like this it's great to have a printed manual, or just ask Notebook LM what all the alt functions are and print that out. So it's not all free-form Frippertronics in here where you feedback between 2 analog tape decks recording from one to the other without any timing. We do have a clock, and that's used to quantize the sequencer rhythm. We've got a trigger sequencer on board as well. So Alt and the trig starts recording the sequencer. So when you play it, you can hear there that that's actually quantized on the beat because I've messed around with the quantize settings. So again, tap and mix A to change those quantize settings there. We see that? So that was set at 1 at the start there, again, which is just on the beat, so we can change that. So if we play it now, let's just clear that. So that's cleared now. So Alt and Tab again, and play that. I'm not doing anything spectacularly musical there, but you can hear that that was less quantized. I think it was the 16th there. And you can obviously sample onto the machine itself. I've got the line outs from the Synthux Pro coming into the left and the right, or the A and the B inputs, but we can also load files and save files on it. We've got a little memory card in there. So tap and play brings up the load, or save, or the tape functions, what you want to call it. We've got 6 different banks, different colors, and then we can load different loops or the different sounds using that. So let's load, I don't know, let's try one of these. And we've got Hainback samples in here. So let's load that one. Sample format's 48 kilohertz, 32-bit float with a maximum time of 42 seconds. Now let's play it and see what it sounds like. Let's put it onto real actually, so we can hear it. Let's just go get it onto the right tuning, play. Let's increase the size, change the position. Doesn't sound right. Let's just check I'm not modulating anything. Maybe I'm modulating that position there. Oh, there you go. I've got the sequencer turned on. Let's turn that off. Or loop it on a small sized cycle. Put it into slice mode. So it would chop off into little bits. In fact, if I load in, let's go to tab and play it down. I'll load in something that I've programmed into this. Try to remember where it is. I think it's on the pink. There we go. If I load, I think it's, let's try this one, shall we? Load that. And play it. And you can hear that's looping in time. It's not a random looping position, and that's because we're in slice mode and the beat quantization is on. So it's like it's chopped it into quantized slices so it can play to the grid, but it's purely by chance I've got that exactly on the bar. Maybe it's slightly out, so let's press tap and twist mix A and turn it anti-clockwise to quantize to the beat. That's the first white LED setting. Now let's change the size. And it'll always be on the grid aligned to the clock. Now let's speed that clock up, so hold tap and turn cycle A. And you can hear that 90s Akai style time stretch effect. Now let's put it in drift, although we have heard a lot of that granular effect already. Add some delay. Let's change the delay time. Add some grit. Turn that grit up. Play it in reverse. Turn the grit down again. In fact, I'll play a little practice run, a little demo I made yesterday. you're watching carefully there, you'll have noticed I mentioned stereo modes. We've got 3 stereo modes selected with this switch in the center, 1, 2, and 3, and you might be able to see, but we've got a nice little visual feedback as well, some little LEDs. They're very small, but maybe the camera is actually picking them up. The first mode, we've got 2 separate decks, left and right. We've got an input and an output for each deck. So in mode 1, the input and the output for channel A go to the left, and the input and the output for channel B go to the right. In the central mode, the inputs go to their respective channels, or the left and the right. So this one's going to the left and the orange is going to the right. But the inputs or the outputs from the decks go to both. So that's like a nice stereo mode. And in the third mode, we get like a randomization. So I'll show you what I mean by all of those. Let's sync everything with the Symmontronic again, just to keep everything nice and in time. I've got a little arpeggiator playing on the Synth Pro X. If we just play that, we can't hear anything yet because I've not got the inputs turned up. So the inputs are here, the outputs there. So let's turn up the input on channel A, turn the input up on channel B. So these are going to their respective channels. And then we've got a mix knob for the input and the output. So let's put them both on the output only. There's no outputs playing at the minute. On the channel A, we're going to have that. And on channel B, we'll have that. So let's just play the 2 of them. So we can mix them in. And then we've got an output knob there. Whoops. So turn the output of channel A down, output of channel B down. I'm just showing you that we've got an input and output. We've got a mix for channel A, we've got a mix for channel B. So loads of control, basically. And then we've got an A-B mix as well. And again, you can see the little squares lighting up as we move it. But yeah, left and right, separate decks. I should really be playing separate things on the 2 separate synths to make it more obvious. But let's move it to the stereo mode. So now the input for channel A is going out the left and the input for channel B is going out the right, but we're getting the outputs mixed for left and right. So both of them are coming left and right. So they're both in the center there. Let's just play around a little bit. Let's add some delay. Let's increase the mix of that maybe, or increase the feedback. Increase the time, or do the same over here on the right. So let's make this one shorter so it's more obvious that there's 2. And if we bring these to separate channels again, so you can hear there's a difference there. And then let's go to the randomization so we can hear it moving from left to right. Let's put into slice mode. And of course, because it's all synced to 130 BPM, we can do something like this. We've not tried anything with the LFOs yet, so let's try something with them. So tap and play. Let's, I don't know, something random. I really don't know what's in all of these. Let's go to turquoise, like that one. Hopefully it's like a tone. These are the hang back ones again. Let's play that. Yeah, brilliant. So let's modulate that position. So as I say, we've got two LFOs. You can't see them doing anything at the minute because they've not been picked up yet, really. So we need to pick up the right speed on the cycle. So that's okay. And then the amount. So let's slow that speed down. So on this one, we've got sample and hold, and we've got a square or a pulse. So let's slow that down a bit more. Put it into here, and we can have it on the position and the size, or just the size. And you can see it doing stuff. Let's put it onto slice. Or I'm just trying to get it so you can hear it doing something. There we go. So that's sample and hold, is it? It's a square. There you go, nice. That's a little bit of that. That's great. Or we can use this one over here, and this has got a sine or sawtooth. So again, let's... If you can't see these flashing, it's because you've picked up the wrong value there. Oh yeah, lovely. So you can obviously see that sawtooth. Go back to the sine. Yeah, brilliant. We've also got envelopes for the inputs as well, but got nothing being input at the minute. So let's bring this all the way over there. Just make it so it don't blow my speakers. Let's play this. Trying to see if we can pick up an envelope from that. Yeah, it's picking it up somehow, isn't it? Just got to adjust the inputs and stuff like that on that to get that right. But I don't know if you can see the glow happening there. It's following the input and the output of the deck itself, which is that granular sound. So that's why it doesn't look like a regular envelope. It looks a little bit crazy. But it is there. you can just about see that the envelope is being picked up. But that's a bit more peaceful, isn't it? Then of course we've got the envelope down here. I will take that modulation off. If we play this again, let's increase the size. And let's put it onto slice mode maybe. So we're playing through that. Just pick up that. So we're playing through the slice. Now we can have different envelopes on this. So let's make it a bit smaller. So this is a sawtooth, sorry, a ramp. So it's starting loud, then quiet. Or we can have it as a triangle, so it starts quiet, gets loud, and then drops down again. Let's get these. So there's an obvious envelope in there, isn't there? And then we've got a ramp up. And a blend between all of them as well. There you go, it's ramping up. Let's add a little bit of delay, make it a bit nicer. And in drift mode, those envelopes are still in there. And in drift mode, we can also change that size of the envelope. All the way into FM. So change the shape of it again. Had to pick it up to the triangle, to the ramp, and then back again to the sawtooth or the ramp down. So let's put that sine on there. And then let's change the size as well, or just the size. Again, stereo modes. Position and size. Increase the envelope. I like it down here. It's cool, isn't it? Change the amount of modulation. And you can sync the LFOs to the clock as well. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I'll just show you quickly. So we've got the external clock there. That's why that's flashing in pink. And if we press Alt and cycle, it's synced to that. So let's just play it. So again, lots of ways to keep everything in time and it working with other things without it being a real Frippertronic, just two random sort of tape heads doing things between each other. I've not shown deck-to-deck recording yet, so let's do that quickly. It's really simple, just Alt plus reverse rather than Alt plus play. So if we play that, Alt plus reverse, it's now recording. That'll do. Let's play it. Let's play it in reverse, play it forward. There we go, done. Nice, isn't it? So I think I've shown just about everything I'd wanted to show there. The only thing I've not shown, I think, is the gate in and the gate out. So the gate out is when you've triggered something, you can trigger something with those or with the sequencer. Gate in is the gate in, obviously. I've showed the mix, I've shown the voltage per octave. Yeah, I think I've covered I'll say just about everything. Most things I've not shown absolutely every alt function in there, for example, but hopefully it's given you a really nice idea of what this is. It's a musical playground. It's an experimental bass. It's, you know, it's just full of hours of fun. And like I said, I think in the very intro, it's quite meditative. You just sink into it and come up with all sorts of beautiful, wonderful textures. It's not cheap, it's $949, so it's not an impulse purchase. And there's one thing that I'd like it to do that it doesn't do, and that's be able to clear your patterns. So after you've done that, if I wanted to clear that and start again, the only way to do that is to unplug it. In the forums, people have said, yeah, just buy a lead with a switch on the lead. I've got it using the USB here. It does come with a power supply, but it's a European power supply because I picked this one up in Berlin, so that's why I'm using the USB here. We do have a MIDI in and a MIDI out as well. We've got a separate headphone out, and we've got the SD card in here. I'll just pop it out. There we go. And that'll show up on your computer as a drive. And here's what's on it. We've got the blue, the green, the pink, the red, the turquoise, and the yellow. And we've got 6 WAVs in each of them. And they're 48 kilohertz, 32 floating bit. So if you do get this, do go to the site and download the Hainbach samples. Lots of fun to be had there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was of some use to somebody somewhere. If it was, please do subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon, do all those sort of things. Check out my starskycar.com website. Again, there's patches, samples, free bits and bobs, cheap bits and bobs. You know, anything that you can do to help support the channel is massively appreciated. So thanks for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time. I will now play the intro track that I played earlier without me talking, and a few little notes over the top just to show you what's happening in that in a little bit more detail. So yeah, I will see you next time.